I still remember the smell of the sea that morning. Cold, briny and final. We stood on a quiet dock in Scotland, watching a coffin being lowered into a submarine. Inside was our soldier. Only he wasn't a soldier at all. He was a homeless man, dead of pneumonia. And soon, he'd be the most important man in Europe. The year was 1943. The Allies were planning the invasion of southern Europe, but not where everyone expected. Hitler's spies were convinced we'd strike Greece. The truth? Sicily. If the Germans guessed right, tens of thousands of men would die on those beaches. So, someone in British intelligence, brilliant or mad, I still don't know which, proposed the impossible: let's use a corpse to lie to Hitler. They called it Operation Mincemeat. My job was to give our dead man a life, a name, a story, a fiancé who would never exist. We crafted an entire identity for him: Major William Martin, Royal Marines. A photograph of a smiling girl tucked in his wallet. Love letters, movie ticket stubs, even a receipt for an engagement ring. Every detail perfect. We needed the Germans to believe Major Martin was real. But it wasn't the fake life that haunted me. It was the real death. I had to look into his still, pale face each night while writing letters from Pam, the woman who loved him. Sometimes, I caught myself whispering, "I'm sorry, old boy. You didn't sign up for this." Weeks later, under cover of darkness, we sailed aboard HMS Seraph into the choppy Atlantic off the coast of Spain. The plan was simple and horrifying. We'd release the body into the water, chained to a briefcase filled with top-secret invasion plans. Spain was neutral officially. Unofficially, its intelligence service worked closely with the Germans. We needed them to find the body and pass those papers straight to Hitler's desk. When dawn broke, the sea was restless, gray like lead. We said a short prayer. Then we opened the hatch. I'll never forget the splash as he hit the water. One final ripple. One silent salute. Then he was gone. 2 days later, a fisherman found him washed ashore near Huelva. Just as we'd hoped. And then, silence. For days. Weeks. Nothing. London grew restless. Have they found the papers? Did the Spanish turn them over? Every hour felt like a year. If the Germans smelled even the faintest whiff of trickery, it would all collapse. Then one morning I walked into headquarters and the colonel just nodded. A simple, quiet nod. It had worked. The Germans had opened the briefcase. We later learned they handled the papers with such care, photographing every page, resealing envelopes, even faking the wax seals before sending them untouched back to us. They thought we'd never notice. But we did. And more importantly, so did Hitler. He moved entire divisions away from Sicily and toward Greece. Fortified the wrong coast. The trap was set. July 1943. The Allied invasion of Sicily began. As our troops stormed the beaches, resistance was lighter than anyone dared hope. Casualties minimal. The Germans were waiting hundreds of miles away for an attack that never came. Back in London, the room erupted in cheers. Glasses clinked. Papers flew. For once, the lies had saved lives. But I didn't celebrate. I slipped away to the quiet corner of the War Office, where a single photo lay on my desk. A young man's face. No name. No family. Just a corpse we'd turned into a hero. Months later, I visited his grave in Spain. The headstone read, Major William Martin, Royal Marines. Serving his country even in death. I left flowers. But I couldn't help thinking, did he serve his country? Or did we just use him? Years after the war, the truth leaked out. People called it brilliant, cunning, a masterpiece of deception. But none of them ever smelled the salt air that morning. None of them saw the lifeless eyes we gave a false identity. And yet, I suppose, history doesn't remember the smell. It only remembers the result. A dead man who fooled the Führer himself. Sometimes, when I close my eyes, I still see him floating in that gray sea, briefcase chained to his wrist, drifting toward destiny. They called him William Martin. But that wasn't his name. It was Michael. A man who died alone on a cold street, and changed the course of a world war. This, for dramatic tension. They say truth is stranger than fiction. But tell me, if one lie can save thousands of lives, was it truly a lie at all?